Up next on The Bottom Line, an Upcounty arts venue turns into a food distribution site. We'll tell you about this unique partnership.
Thank you, buddy.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
It's like a labor of love. It's like the hub is like pure of love.
On the one-year anniversary of the county's carbon monoxide law, we revisit the steps you need to take to protect yourself and your family.
It's the silent killer. It's colorless, it's odorless, and there's no way to detect it without the presence of an alarm.
And great news for Montgomery County as biotech company Novavax is awarded a massive grant to develop and distribute a coronavirus vaccine.
Pretty confident that it's going to work.
Thanks for watching, everyone. I'm Susan Kenedy. The coronavirus pandemic has put a strain on so many of our county residents who have been affected in numerous ways. In recognizing this, county leaders have come together in an effort to support those residents through a unique model. What was once a gallery for local art is now a hub for food and supplies for Upcounty residents who are in need of assistance due to the COVID-19 pandemic. At the Black Rock Center for the Arts, bags of food and supplies are being packed and delivered every day.
A stay-at-home directive.
Immediately after Governor Hogan initiated the stay-at-home order, the folks at Black Rock got on board with the idea of using their venue as home base for food and supply distribution for the needy.
We started getting calls from families that had COVID.
It all started with a call from street outreach workers in the Upcounty.
They had a large donation of produce. Could they use the space to divide the produce for delivery to a local community? And within days, the hub concept was developed. This week alone, over 700 families.
In these COVID kits, you have everything from the thermometers, the tissues.
Grace Rivera-Oven is leading the effort at what now is known as the Upcounty Consolidation Hub to help those vulnerable families get the supplies they so desperately need during this crisis.
When COVID hit early in March, I kind of saw like a tsunami coming of need. And it was just it was a desperation kind of feeling because I knew things were going to get bad. And especially with the minority community, the Latino community, more specific, they are your essential workers. They're in the front lines.
Black Rock has partnered with the Blair Foundation, the Latino Health Initiative, Nourish Now, the Healthcare Initiative Foundation, and other county partners to provide wide-reaching access for the families impacted by the epidemic.
And so that reality of taking this idea of a regional hub and then actually making it the spoke to where it's actually now sending out to all of the areas that need it is just a tremendous sort of really response to the need that we're seeing in our communities.
Yeah, so we bring it over here.
The team has been diligent in bringing food, hygiene products, and diapers, a big need, to a mobile home park in the Upcounty where many immigrants live. There are no barriers in receiving this assistance.
You need diapers. I'm not going to make you like sign the Declaration of Independence for you to get diapers. Like you will get diapers. You need wipes, you will get wipes. It's very culturally appropriate, especially because the largest population we're serving are Latino families. Which you have the maseca, which is we need to have the maseca, which is the stuff you make tortillas with, and you need the rice and you need the beans.
I know a little bit about that.
You know, some comfort food, to just, when you're sick, you want to have comfort food.
There's a steady group of more than 100 volunteers, which includes some local high school and college students who help deliver the food every day.
Not doing a lot with my time. I'm a college student. I'm taking some online classes for the summer, but otherwise I've just been at home. So it's a good way to feel like I'm helpful, doing something for the community, and it's a nice thing to do with my time. I also just got my license in last October, so it's a good way to get some driving practice in.
You get a little bit emotional, because there are people that, come 2 days in a row. Mango juice. You want water?
Yeah.
I do this every single day, and sometimes people learn about my next distribution, and I saw them yesterday, you know, and it's, you know, and for those people, you know, they really need the assistance, you know. They're, you know, and I can see it in their eyes. Yeah, so that's an example of somebody walking up with the homeless people. We don't turn them away because they don't really have anywhere to go.
The local business community has also stepped in with transportation assistance and the donation of space to store cold food.
You know, this facility wasn't built to be a distribution center. So how do you handle once you get a large donation of chicken or a large donation of milk, right? So we had to partner with industries that maybe were underutilizing their freezer space at the moment based on demand to do this. And it's also been community members, you know, dropping off in the donation boxes, seeing us as we're loading the vehicles and, you know, coming up and giving us $20 and saying, I heard you need diapers, go buy diapers.
But probably one of the most amazing stories to tell is that of those who have been receiving help from the hub and who are now giving back themselves, including the very first family that was assisted.
She now every Monday, I'm getting emotional. She comes back and she gives us diapers and wipes every week. Every week she comes. She's like, I had no idea who to call, and if it wasn't for you guys, I really would have been really lost. And she goes, and I would have ventured. I would have gone outside. I would have gone to the store sick. I would have gone and got the formula because we needed that for my family.
It's one thing to provide performances and the education, and we celebrate that. And creating this collaboration, creating the partnership, is allowing people to do something.
And she is off to Gaithersburg to deliver to 2 families.
At a time when they feel helpless.
Grace Rivera-Oven says she has never been shy of a challenge and that growing up in this community has prepared her for this moment to deliver this effort.
I have a roof on top of my head. I have a wonderful family. Nobody is sick. I'm able to go home to a safe place. But not everybody's as lucky in our community. So this is about, you know, all of us kind of coming together and just acknowledging our neighbors and saying you're not alone.
Thank you, buddy.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
It's like a labor of love. It's like the hub is like pure of love.
It's been 1 year since the county enacted a law that requires dwellings to have carbon monoxide alarms. The measure was the work of Councilmember Craig Rice and Montgomery County Fire and Rescue Services to keep residents safe from CO2 poisoning.
Carbon monoxide is critically important for residents to be aware of and to have their alarm presence. It's the silent killer. It's colorless, it's odorless, and there's no way for you or I, the resident of any house, townhouse, apartment, to detect it without the presence of an alarm. Carbon monoxide comes from natural gas, propane, pellet stoves, regular wood, or exhaust from a car inside a garage. Never leave the car running inside the garage, because if you forget, go inside, someone closes the door to help safety, and then that carbon monoxide just builds and builds inside the garage, and then it will migrate its way inside the living space. So the law that passed with Mr. Elrich and yourself co-signing outlines that if you live in a residential dwelling where there is a carbon monoxide producing environment or an enclosed garage space, you have to have a carbon monoxide alarm. The nature of carbon monoxide poisoning is traditionally identified as flu symptoms. A little bit of fever, a little bit of nausea, a little bit of vomiting. But as the silent killer, people go to sleep, get overwhelmed by the carbon monoxide when they're at their weakest at night, and then are found later on the day. Tragically, we had one in June where there was a unattended car in a garage that created such a situation. But this can occur if your flue pipe to your furnace, to your hot water heater, any one of those devices that has a normally blue flame. So it is very critical to have these simple alarms, just like a smoke alarm, always present, ready to go. These are as good as sealed smoke alarms. Sealed batteries, so you do not have to change it. Some are 110 volt, they plug straight into the wall with a battery backup. Some are all battery. And because of the 10-year battery, can't be older than your 5th grader, plug it in, let it sit, test the check button every 6 months, and it's the silent sentry to help you with that. One of the frequent questions is, where should this be? It's not important to be at the top of the ceiling like our smoke alarms are. Just the pure presence of a carbon monoxide alarm will give you peace of mind. These are a $20 range through any of your big box stores.
Chief, so I know that while $20 may not be a lot to some, for some in our community, that is something that represents a hardship. What do folks do if they can't afford a carbon monoxide alarm?
Absolutely. Call 311, go to MCFRS, MC Safe, fill out our information, and we'll come out. We'll assist with that, just like we assist and make sure everybody has a working smoke alarm. We'll make sure that you have a working carbon monoxide alarm to protect you from the byproducts of incomplete combustion and the presence of carbon monoxide.
And finally, big news for biotech. The federal government is placing its bet on the development of a coronavirus vaccine with the Montgomery County biotech company Novavax.
And tonight, Maryland biotech company Novavax is in the hunt for a COVID-19 vaccine.
The Gaithersburg-based company has been awarded $1.6 billion to develop and distribute 100 million vaccines as early as the end of this year. The company began working on this technology back in January and has seen great success in recent trials.
We're pretty confident that it's going to work given our experience in animals. You know, we've done multiple vaccines using this technology. A new flu vaccine that we just announced results on a couple months ago. It's better than the current vaccine on the market. We have done an Ebola vaccine, a MERS vaccine, a SARS vaccine, Zika. So we've used this platform technology to make other vaccines, and we've always found that whatever we see in animals, we see in people.
The funding is part of the Operation Warp Speed program launched by the federal government to make vaccines and treatments for the coronavirus available to the public as quickly as possible. Though several other biotech corporations across the country are working on a vaccine, Young explained why the Novavax technology stands out.
So these other technologies that have been sort of out in front of us are technologies where they inject something into you and they expect you to make the protein and then make an immune response against that COVID protein. In our case, we make the protein in big fermenters. We purify it, and then we inject the purified protein directly into you. And so your body doesn't have to do anything. You just have to have your immune response against that protein.
Young says there is greater experience with this traditional approach, which gives them the confidence that this vaccine will work. Novavax has partnered with another Montgomery County company, Emergent Biosolutions, to produce the vaccine.
You know, Emergent was critical to us being able to get into the clinic as quickly as possible. So they were able to immediately take our production system, plug it into their laboratories there, their production facilities there in Baltimore, and have been making our clinical trial materials.
The grant will fund late-stage clinical trials, including a phase 3 human trial that will begin in October. Novavax is one of more than a dozen Montgomery County companies leading the charge on a coronavirus vaccine and treatments. Young says there is no place better to work on a solution to save lives.
Yeah, there's no doubt that Montgomery County probably is one of the best locations for biotechnology anywhere in the world.
The county has invested in Novavax in terms of making sure that they were a company who would continue to be able to thrive here in the county, whether it's some of the property tax abatement that we do and other kinds of things that attract these companies to the region. Guess what? It can actually pay off, and we're seeing that now. Not only in terms of what the financial aspects are, but from a public health standpoint as well, in terms of the potential of saving hundreds of thousands of lives. That's a big deal.
The Novavax award was the biggest yet from the Operation Warp Speed program. By early next year, the company hopes to be able to make 50 million doses a month in the United States. Well, that does it for this edition of The Bottom Line. For County Cable Montgomery, I'm Susan Kenedy.